Did you use my soap? I'm on a meeting. Just a little bit. You use my stuff all the time, Cameron.
Hello to everyone coming in. We're going to wait another minute or so and just let people load on in.
Oh, I can't see that people are coming in.
Me either, so I'm just kind of talking on faith.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. All righty. We're going to wait maybe another 60 seconds or so before we get started. We don't want to hold you too long. As we know, everyone is probably has other things to do this evening. So we'll just be just a few moments more just to get other people on the line. I'm excited about this trip, Mrs. Nelson.
So am I.
It's
Like
going to be good. It's going
it
to be
is.
so amazing. And a good experience for our students. So
And
hope
and for us stepping back into our childhood.
have to remember those old songs.
Yes. I'm gonna dig out some pictures.
I have no pictures. Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this information session about our Elkins Park camping experience trip to Camp Laughing Waters. Yay! I'm Dr. Crystal Clark. I'm the principal at Elkins Park School, and I am joined by Mrs. Nelson, our sixth grade vice principal. And Mrs. Nelson will be sharing the bulk of our information this evening, but we will both be on the line to answer questions at the conclusion of our presentation. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you have joined to get additional information regarding our upcoming trip for our sixth grade students to Camp Laughing Waters. And you may have heard in the past that Elkins Park sixth graders did Peak. Now, Peak was the camping experience trip, and in the location, the name of the company and the site that they visit, the campsite was called Peak. And so, through the years, that particular location has become cost prohibitive to our students. Last year, we did have a camping experience to Peak that cost over it was $250 per student, which made it unaccessible for most of our sixth graders last year. So Ms. Nelson has been really working diligently to find a different location where we could still have all the amenities of the camping experience and for the cost to come down to make it more attainable for the majority of our sixth grade students. So our camping trip, you'll hear more and more about it, again, is at Camp Laughing Waters. It'll take place between May 22nd and 24th. And Ms. Nelson will give more information about that. And she'll talk about all the amenities that are available and how we are interested and in need of chaperones to attend. And so without further ado, Ms. Nelson, I'm going to just let you jump right into it, okay?
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. So the slide I just switched to is a really nice aerial shot of Camp Laughing Waters. I really wanted you to be able to see we have the run of the entire camp. It'll be just our group of students there for the time that we're in session. And so you can see there's plenty of things and plenty of room for them to really just kind of have a really nice back to nature, no electronics time. And we really want to focus on the camping experience. It's not specifically about the place, but it's about the experience of the students being together out in nature, learning, differently than they're learning in the classroom. So it's really about the camping experience, and that's what we want to drive home. So today we're going to go over the food, the lodging, packing list, clearances for chaperones. That's really important. Medical things, activities, the costs. Those are the things that we're going to highlight. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. You'll be able to raise your hand and then unmute yourself and be able to speak and ask your question, and we'll answer questions then. So this year, Dr. Clark mentioned that last year for peak, it was $250 per person. We have been able to get that cost down to $95 per person to make this more accessible to families. You can pay it as one lump sum, or you could make installment payments. And you can see the dates there: March 4th, March 18th, April 1st, and April 15th would be the last of the installment payments. There will be a link that as soon as it's open, we'll send out, or Dr. Clark will send out the payment link. It's through the RevTrack system, which is on the district website. And you can pay on there. We'll also have a space there if you would like to contribute to a fund to help us cut costs for families in need. There'll be an opportunity for you to donate there as well. If you or a family that has a financial hardship, you can let them know that they can reach out to me, and we'll speak privately and work to find something that allows the student to participate. So participation expectations. We just want to highlight that this trip is one of the best privileges of being a sixth grader at Elkins Park School. And as such, as a privilege, we do need to make sure that students are earning their way in. If they have any major school infractions or behavior infractions, either in school or on the bus, it can result in exclusion from the trip. And so that includes anything that would be considered a major infraction. Minor behavior infractions, you will work with the students and families, will give warnings, but if it's a repeated offense and we're not really seeing any growth in that area, it can also result in exclusion from the trip. So, our goal is to have every student that wants to, we want them to be able to participate in the trip, but we also do need to make sure that they're showing, the great positive behavior traits that we're looking for in our students each and every day. This is a big slide, chaperones, okay? Your responsibilities are, include, you're gonna have a small group of students, 12 to 14, but if we get more chaperones, we can make those groups smaller. And you're with those students. You're sleeping in the bunkhouses with them. So obviously, in the cabins for female students, we'll have female chaperones, and the same for male students. But
We'll have male
really,
chaperones.
what'd you say?
I said male students, but then we'll have the male chaperones.
Yes. And so we cannot stress how important it is for us to have a healthy number of chaperones to really ensure that kids can really enjoy the trip and be safe. We are opening this up to volunteers over the age of 21, and you have to have all of your clearances. In the past, it had to be a parent. We are now opening it up to other family members as long as they're over the age of 21. And you have to get all of your clearances. On the slide, you'll see where you can go to get all of your clearances done. There's a link on the Cheltenham School District website that takes you to those things as well. In the packet, I misspoke, not Peak anymore, the camping experience packet that most of the students brought home today. There's a small group that'll be bringing theirs home tomorrow. The information is in that packet as well. It can take some time. So if you are interested in chaperoning, or you have a family member that will be interested in chaperoning, get started on that ASAP, because not only do you have to go through for everything to be cleared through the different agencies, but it also then has to be approved by the school board. And so we need to get those things in as soon as possible. And we are also requiring a $45 non-refundable deposit for chaperones as well, so that we can secure your spot on the trip. So here's a picture of the outside of a cabin and the fire circle for that cabin. Every cabin has its own fire circle, so kids can do some team building activities, tell campfire stories, or whatever moves them. They have that space that is private to their particular cabin. And here's some pictures of the interiors of the cabins. So last time I was at Camp Laughing Waters, I was 12. It did not look this nice.
No.
So they've done a lot of renovations. The bunks, I've seen some of those bunks at in person at another camp. They're very nice. The bunkhouses are very nice. There's hot showers, flush toilets, and so we're roughing it, but not too rough. It's a pretty nice setup for sleeping.
They have electricity. I don't remember
Yes.
I don't remember electricity in my bunk when I went camping.
Included in the cost is on-site catering for all of our meals. There'll be allergy options. I have a lot of food allergies myself, so I'm very sensitive to that, and keep a close eye on making sure that we are addressing any allergy or dietary needs. And there's space in the packet to specify any allergies or dietary needs, and I'll share that with the chef. But they will be on-site catering for us. There's a sample menu at the bottom of the screen. That's not necessarily exactly what we'll have, but it'll just give you a sense of the types of foods that will be available. And I made that coffee cup really big because coffee is important, I know, for me and probably for most of you. And there will be fresh hot coffee daily in the cafeteria. There is electricity, like Dr. Clark said, in the cabins. So I know we planned on bringing a couple of Keurigs. So if you need that midday pick me up, we'll have coffee. I promise you, we will keep you, well caffeinated. We'll also be providing snacks. The caterer will provide the 3 meals a day, but we will be also providing snacks for, the evening times if the kids get a little hungry. This is the current schedule. This is one of the days that the Girl Scout group leaders will be running. Right now, we have it based off of 14 groups, like I said, depending on the number of chaperones and things that may shift. But you can see some of the activities that they have that will be available to them. It's very similar to the Peak experience. We wanted to be very intentional about making sure that the experience, that the kids didn't miss out going from one space to another. So there's, sports activities, archery. There's a low ropes course that has a permission slip that's a part of the packet. You have to give your permission for your student to be able to participate in that. It looks really cool. There's a rock wall, Gaga, which I used to call the pit of death. No, not the pit of death, the pit of doom, because kids would get really intense playing that. But they love it. So there's a Gaga pit, there's kickball, various team building games that we'll be doing. And all of those things will be run by Girl Scout employees. And then we'll have some time at the end of the day after dinner time to do some school-based things. So this is just an example.
Yeah, if I can interject for a moment. So again, Camp Laughing Waters is it's owned by Girl Scouts, and so it's used primarily in the summer for scouting for female scouts. However, during off times, the facility is rented, and it's rented whether it's to school groups, to church groups, to community groups, for these types of scouting experiences. And so it's much closer than where Peak was. and again, offering an array of activities that really mimic the same experiences that the students received while they were at Peak.
And the nice thing, Laughing Waters has a nice big pool, and that's a little different from Peak. Peak had a pond, and we have a pool, so the kids will have the opportunity to go swimming. The pool will be open for us. So some of this is subject to change, to some adjustments, but this is a basic idea of what the day would look like.
And these activities are run by the scouting staff members on site.
So here are some of the amenities. There's a picture of the pool, so you can see it's a really nice big pool. The lifeguard will do swim tests so that they can determine who is able to go into the deep end and who needs to stay in the shallower ends. You see that nice fabulous rock climbing wall. I don't think I'm
Yes.
going up anywhere on that, maybe about as high as those mats are. That's about it. We have the large group fire circle where they do some sing-alongs and things like that. And then the activity center, which is one of the newer things with those fabulous garage doors, and they have basketball, all kinds of activities in, and they open the doors up and extend it out into the field. And so the kids really kind of have the run of all of this athletic space as well. And we also plan on bringing arts and crafts because we recognize not everybody wants to do sports or not, we want to make sure that we have a little something for everyone. This is just a copy of the packing list that is in the packet if your student has brought it home today or will have brought it home tomorrow. Typical camping things: sleeping bag, pillows, pajamas. I'm not going to read the entire list, so you'll have your own copy. But it gives you a nice foundation of things to pack. We don't want them to overpack because they do need to bring their things on a school bus and carry it around and things. But these are the basics that as long as they have these things, they'll be just fine on our camping experience. Medical. Okay, so if your student has medicine that they take on a regular basis, that has to be dropped off to our school by May 13th. It has to be brought in by an adult. You cannot send it in with the child. And the same for picking up. It has to be picked up by an adult. We can't release it to the student. All of the forms to fill out for medicine to be dispersed. We have a nurse that will be on site the entire time we're there, who will have all of the medical forms, medical histories for students and for any adults that are attending. But we just ask that the medications are dropped off to school by May 13th. If you have a student that has already been taking medicine at school and we have that paperwork on file already, you don't need to start a new note because we have the copy. It's only for anyone who maybe for that period of time their students need to take something or something new comes up. We would need the new doctor's note for that dispensing for those students. But anyone who already has it on file, you're good to go. You're covered by what you already have. So that's the end of the presentation part. And now where I figure we're going to have most of our activity is in the question and answer session. So do you have any questions?
And Mr. Kaufman is going to help assist us in muting you so you can speak. So if you could use the feature to raise your hand. Mr. Kaufman. I see a hand by Helena Carter.
Yes. Can you please be quiet? Hello, yes.
Hi.
Helena Carter. I'm Amari Vincent's mom.
Yes, hi.
Hi, hello. Hello, Miss Nelson.
What's
Hi.
your question?
Huh?
What's your question?
So my question is, as far as my question is just as far as like, where is the camp?
So the camp is in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania. That's a good question. I forgot to say that when we first started. It's in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour,
It's about an hour away.
like northeast from here.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it a
I'm
close
sorry, go ahead.
proximity? I'm sorry. Is it a close proximity to where Peak was, like in the same direction?
I'm not sure if it's in the same direction, but Peak was 2.5 hours away, so it's considerably closer. This is only about an hour.
Okay. And the next question is, if I chaperone, do I have to ride the bus or can I drive?
That's a good question. So we do have to have a number of chaperones to be on each bus just because we need the students to be chaperoned. But if we have chaperones that, like, if you have a special circumstance, we can work that out, and we would talk offline on that, and we could work something out for that.
Okay, no, I don't have a problem with riding the bus. I was just saying because you guys opened it up to family members.
Mhm.
So I was just to kind of help you guys out with chaperones if you needed more chaperones.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
some people don't want to ride the school bus, but they wouldn't mind going if they could drive their own cars.
Gotcha. No, as long as we have as long as we have enough adults to ride on the buses, other adults that need to drive, yes, we could work that out for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I
Um,
don't have a problem with, like, me personally, I don't have a problem with riding the bus. I went to Peak with my daughter when she was in 6th grade and I loved it. I went to Peak as a kid. So, when I was a kid, and I didn't have a chaperone like my parent. But I just was asking because you guys did, like I said, you opened it up to other people and everybody doesn't want to ride, a bus
right.
with screaming kids. So,
No, no, and I understand that. And yes, no, we could definitely make room for that. And just to answer your question, so Peak was north of Stroudsburg,
mhm.
Pennsylvania. So it and Gilbertsville is further east, so, and a lot closer.
Okay. No, but either way, it's fine. I like both. I like Peak. I did like Peak, but everything that you were talking about with this camp is, I feel like it's better than Peak. So good job, you guys.
We hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone? Any hands up? Any other questions? I see a Tatiana Patton.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, perfect. My question is, on the side, you had a $45 non-refundable for chaperones. Is that the cost per chaperone, or is that towards the $95 per person?
Good question. That is towards the cost of $95 per person.
Okay, thank you.
You're
And then
welcome.
Helena asked my other question about the driving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did that non-refundable deposit where in the past, maybe there have been chaperones who've indicated that they wanted to go and then we include them. And then they just, never pay or they cancel at the last minute, which then leaves us with not enough chaperones for the number of students. So this is just to lock in each adult so that we have a correct count when trying to plan chaperoning for our various cabins and experience, activities during the trip.
And we were still left paying for that person even though they weren't there. So we needed to make sure that we could cover that cost as well.
I see a K. You are unmuted.
Yes, Kimberly. My question is, as far as the clearances, like I filled clearances out when my daughter was at Cheltenham. Do I need to fill them out again? Like, is there a time limit on when you need to complete the clearances again?
So I think they're good for a year. So it would depend on three for the volunteers.
They're good for 3 years. So
Okay.
if we got your name, or even if you called the school, our secretary could check to see if your clearances were up to date.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there.
Hi
I'm
there.
Hi.
Mayas Kate Catanio's dad. My name's Dustin. And
Hi. I
Hi.
remember you, sir.
I have my clearances through Temple University. Should I just get a copy of those and bring them to you all or give them to the school district, or should I have them run through the school district?
If they are the same exact clearances and they are up to date, then they would need to be turned in to the district. So you can either bring them into our school and have our secretary make those copies and send them over, which I probably would prefer. So then we would know that you are on the clearance list, or you could directly have them submitted to, do you know what office they would go to? Would it be
They go
the,
to Dominique Peters.
yeah, the Assistant Superintendent Secretary, Miss Dominique Peters?
Okay,
Um,
thank you. Yeah, they're to go into schools. I'm a music education professor, so we have to have those to go visit our student teachers and things like that. I'll get
Okay.
them, but if I need to run them again through the school district, that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I got the 1 year from. I think if they're less than a year old through somewhere else, but they're the right clearances, then you're okay. If it's more than a year, if it's out of our district stuff, then you would have to run them again through
Thank-
us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Good question. I'm writing these down also, Mrs. Nelson. I
Oh,
see
fantastic.
Brenda.
Hi, my question is related to the kids. How are they going to get split up into the tents and cabins?
So we work with the classroom teacher, well, with all of the teachers. So because we want kids to be with kids that they're friends with, we don't, we want them to be
Right.
with people that they're friendly with. So we work collaboratively with the homeroom teachers to put groups together.
Okay, so basically, if it's going to be classrooms together.
It's more
Potentially.
by team, not necessarily by classroom.
Okay,
But, students who are all on the X team, like we'll kind of look at that pot of students and see, what friends, the groups of kids that work well together and put those, them together in cabins.
and what
And-
happens if you have multiple parents of those students as chaperones?
That's
So
great.
what we would try to do, and I'm just thinking about things that have been done in the past. If we had, say we had, a group of 10 and, in that group of 10, there were, 6 chaperones, which would be a lot for those students. We might break those 2 groups up into, half of the parents and half of those kids are in one group. And then, we make them 2 groups instead of one big group.
Okay,
But then the kids still get to interact with each other because the groups just travel around with each other. So officially on paper, you're responsible for, that group of kids, but it doesn't mean that you can't partner up with myself and with Dr. Clark and our groups, and then they get to still be together. It's just that officially you have this crop of students that you're responsible for.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
I wanted to mention also in the past, if any of you had experience with Peak, when one group went on the trip, the other group was still at school. And as that group came back to school, then another group went to the trip. So we did it in groups. All students, all 6th graders didn't go at the same time. Because of the size of Camp Laughing Waters, we're actually able to have all the 6th grade students go during the same time. So that's something we're looking forward to. It's going to be new for us, but everybody will be there together. I see Sarita, you're unmuted.
How you doing, Dr. Clark?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, my question was in reference to the supervision of the children there. Is it going to be sufficient supervision to, eliminate, any kids maybe roaming off with, others by themselves? Are they going to be watched closely?
So that's why we are, putting out for lots of chaperones. We'll have our own staff members that'll be there so that we can keep the groups as small as we can, which makes, monitoring that much easier. I will be there. Dr. Clark will be there. We'll have other building staff that are there in addition to the chaperones. So my wish to all of you out there, that if we have a minimum of 30 adult chaperones, I can keep our groups down under, 10 or less. And that's just with, non-staff chaperones. I'll then also have all of the staff members that are attending. And so that'll just be extra adult eyes on all of the kids and all of the different groups. And so, that's why we're really calling on, families, join us on this trip, because that's what helps us to keep the kids safe.
Mhm.
Okay, would there be like an adult? I don't know the room situation. Is there going to be an adult in these rooms?
Yes, every cabin will have multiple adults.
Okay,
So there's not a time where the kids are just kind of on their own. You know, if they're out and about at an activity and they need to go to the bathroom, the group can pause and, all right, everybody, it's a group bathroom break. We're going to go on over. Everybody take get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, that type of thing. They're moving as a group. There's not a time. This is not the type of trip where kids are just moving about the camp unchaperoned. They're with their group for each thing.
okay. And my last question is, how close are the boys' room and situation to the girls?
I can't speak to that exactly because I've been looking at a map. I can tell you, Dr. Clark and I are going to visit the camp to see some of the renovations that have been done. There are many cabins, and so we'll kind of have the girls' cabins clustered together, and then the boys' cabins clustered together. But
And
specifics
they,
on
they are
distance.
separated.
Okay, I just want to feel comfortable, having my daughter.
Yes, no, oh no, and I understand. And
I'm
if
a-
you know what, and I can go back just to show you back on that aerial shot of the camp.
I think it was the second slide. Mhm.
You can kind of see, and I don't know if my pointer is if you can see the arrow, but you can see some of the green top rooftops. Those are cabins, so you can see the distance. There's some distance between them. They're a bit
Okay.
spread out. If that kind of just helps give you a sense, they're not like right there clustered all together.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Yeah, and the cabins again are gender specific. Mr. KK? Okie KK?
Sorry. You guys unmuted me and I didn't unmute myself. Sorry. Hey, Dr. Clark. Hey, Mrs.
Hi.
Nelson.
Hi.
When is the parental chaperone deposit due to you all by?
Oh, that's what I was looking at, Dr. Clark. We need to have that. So the final student payment is April 15th. If we could have that by March 31st
Mm,
for the deposit.
okay. Thank you. That's all.
Oh, okay. Any other questions?
Yep. Johanna, Geraldo. You're unmuted.
Hello, hi. How are you?
Hi.
So I wanna ask. I understand that this facility, this camp is significant in size, and I understand that we have we recruit for chaperones. But when it comes to safety, I mean, how far is the nearest police station or something like that, just in case an emergency has to be called?
I don't know that specifically. I can tell you that this camp has been around for decades, running, Girl Scout activities, family activities. So there's access because they're bringing kids and families up there, all throughout the year and have
Sure.
been for a very, this isn't a new space. It is a very well established space.
I see. Okay. And do they provide security? Like, for example, we have many kids in this, in the camp, but the parents is one thing, and then school officials is one thing. But when it comes to police presence or something,
I don't know if it's a police presence, but there are camp staffing that are available.
okay.
That are there. So the camp, they have their own staff members that are
Sure.
there throughout the experience.
I understand. Okay, yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Ebony Gordon, I see your hand up. You're unmuted.
Hi, I am Shaheen Petaway's mom.
Hi.
Hi, my question is just, are will you guys be accepting like financial donations? Like if we wanted to sponsor maybe a kid that possibly can't afford the $95, and if so, how would I go about contributing?
Yeah,
will-
so the answer is yes.
Mhm.
We will be accepting donations, and there will be a space on the website where you'll pay, where you can click to add a donation, and then you'll be able to put in, you know, if you're doing the full amount, or we'll take anything. You want to donate $10, great. You want to donate 95, great. We'll take any. You want to donate 200, we'll take anything. But you'll be able to specify the amount that you're donating, and that'll be added to your bill when you check out.
Okay, and then my next question is, within one family, it could be more than one adult chaperone, right? So it's not just limited to like one chaperone per child, or, from that family. Like if me and his dad wanted to chaperone, or his uncle, would that be acceptable?
That would be acceptable. And then just with the understanding, obviously, that, if it was you and dad, that, you would have a group of female students that you would be chaperoning, but you all could move around together, but you would be in the girls' bunk and dad would be in the boys' bunk.
Apparently my son is perfectly fine with me not being his chaperone. That's right. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Helena Carter.
Yes, I'm sorry. I know I already asked questions. I just had one more question. I know you and Miss Nelson, you guys know my son. So I was just wondering if he could be in my group.
Well,
Yes.
so yes, and we've had that happen when a mom comes with a son, the son will be assigned to a group in terms of sleeping.
Right. I understand that he won't be in my cabin because, like I said, I went to peak with my daughter. So I was a chaperone in a group with the girls. And obviously my daughter was with me. But we also had other parents that had boys that were in that group. My thing is, I want him to be in my group just because I need him to be in my group.
No, and I understand, and yes, we would totally work that out. That's not a problem.
Okay, yeah, that was just my question. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I know when, like I said, my experience with Peak, I went with my daughter and it was just automatic. She was just automatically in my group because I'm a female and she's a female.
Right.
But there were other parents in our group, in our cabin, that had sons.
Right.
But they still were our parent group, but they just didn't bunk with us, obviously.
Right.
Right. So I just was wondering if it would be the same thing.
Yes.
Yep. We can totally work that out.
Yep.
Okay.
For
Okay.
example, my daughters went to Peak years ago, and my husband was the chaperone. And so he did not sleep in the cabin with them. He had other boys that he was monitoring during the evening activity and hours. However, during the daytime activity, he was one of the chaperones in their individual groups.
Okay, yeah. So that's why I'm just, I know, because I know my son is, so I just want to make sure that at least during the day, I can be there and he knows that I'm there, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And, and I just want everybody to understand that we understand that, some families may have specific needs, and we can all talk offline about those things. You can give us a call in the office or send an email, and we can address specific things, with specific families. And we're happy to address, because we want everyone to have what they need and really enjoy this experience. So we're happy to speak with everyone, separately on any specific needs. But yes, no, we can definitely make sure that, parents, if they are of the opposite gender of their child, can be together during the day.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's really all I wanted. Like, because like you said, we can talk offline.
Yes.
But that's all. That was just another question that I had, and that's it.
All right.
Anything else
Okay.
I have, I will talk to you guys offline.
Okay, perfect. And to the dad that was asking about kind of police stations and things, the camp is not far from Boyertown, which is one of the larger towns out there, and there's several police departments that are around in that area. So help doesn't look to be very far away. Should it be needed, and we know we're going to go there and have a great time, and we won't even need them, but it is close by.
And medical supports are on site.
Yes, there's a medical center on site with a nurse that will be on staff the entire time that we're there.
All right. Hi, Miss Moore. You're unmuted.
Good evening. How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I had two questions. I am not the outdoorsy person, I told so please forgive me. So I'm assuming this is rain or shine type event, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. All right. That was my first question. And then my anxious child here is listening in, and if he did not attend, he wanted to know what would the children be doing in school if they did not go.
They're going to have a typical school day.
Typical school day. So, okay. No, well, he's interested in going. I think this is more convincing. I'm just not an outdoorsy person. So this is something new for me. So, okay.
Thank you. John Fitzgerald, you are unmuted.
Hello.
Hi.
If they want to, are kids allowed to bring their violin?
No, that would not be something we would bring with us.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I was encouraged to ask. The question more applicable to everyone else, though, what is the cell phone policy?
So students, I mean, we're treating it like a school day, like being in school, and students should not have their cell phones. All the adults, chaperones, there's landlines there, there's plenty of access should anybody need to contact home. So students should not be bringing cell phones, and they actually don't have great service out there anyway.
Okay. And then last question, just to clarify on, I think, a previous question. The cabins are obviously segregated, boys and girls, but are the groups themselves co-ed, or are they gender specific as well?
No, we tend to mix the groups because we want the kids to be with people that they really enjoy and want to spend this time with, and that's not always girls are with girls and boys are with boys. So no, the daytime groups, we do have some mixing.
Okay, so it's not like the same group in the daytime as the.
No, it doesn't have to be. We'll have all of that. So we'll have a separate chaperones meeting once people sign on to be chaperones, and we'll review that. When I spoke earlier and said, we kind of gather the kids together based off of the team that they're on. That helps us to make groups of I'll say, like-minded students or groups of friends. And if you think about that pool together, we're able to mix and match kind of within that pool. But then when it's time for sleeping, then all of the girls are going to their cabin, and the cabins are pretty large. I think they hold like 24 or 26 kids. So that's a class size group in that one cabin. So we're able to kind of gather all the kids. So one class might have, one cabin for all of the boys in the class and one cabin for all of the girls in the class, if that makes sense. But then when they go out to do their activities, then they'll be mixed in the groups.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you. Miss Mills, you're unmuted.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So I'm James Nicholson, Mom. So
Yeah,
my
hi.
question is that I'm definitely going to be applying to chaperone. So I'm going to reach out to, the secretary as instructed. Unfortunately, I had missed the part regarding if there was a information session for the chaperones. In addition to that, I wanted to know if you're a chaperone and you have a child who has any special needs or allergy or medication. I know there's one nurse going to be there. Would us as the adult chaperone be responsible for any inhalers or anything like that?
So let me start off. One, yes, we will have a chaperones only meeting later in the spring. Once we know everyone that's going to be on the trip with us, we will meet with everybody. So you'll get, detailed information at that time. Yes, we do have the nurse on site who will be responsible for medications. No, you unless they're in a very rare circumstance where a kid has something, maybe it's an EpiPen, something where that needs to be present in, for like emergent situations. You're not going to be responsible for carrying or dispensing other medications or anything like that.
Okay.
And
And
then
my
I
last
had
question.
one other question. I'm sorry, I don't know if I answered
Yes.
everything.
Yes, you did. You did.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that I get it with the cell phone policy, but I wanted to know, in case I'm not able to chaperone for whatever reason, if I don't get my stuff back in time, if it's behind, can we parents make special requests for like myself? Like I would like to hear my son's voice at least at nighttime. To call home.
We could make arrangements to go to the office site and come
Okay.
up with the time where they would call if they needed to, but that's going to be a slippery slope if we have 600 students and
I
we
know,
get
understand.
one use their cell phone. We'll have a we'll have an issue on our hands. So
I understand.
we do want to treat it as the school day, because oftentimes we can't monitor everybody's cell phone and the appropriateness of what they're doing and watching on their cell phones. So
Yeah, definitely. Understood. All right, thank you.
No problem. And I think you also asked about dietary needs or any food allergies. And there's in the packet that's coming home with the students, it either came home today with them or they may bring it home tomorrow. There's paperwork in there where you can specify any dietary or food allergies. And then we'll address that with the catering company.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
any other questions?
Dr. Clark, there are no more hands. Oh, I spoke too soon. 1 second.
Kenya Martin, you were unmuted.
Hello, I'm Zaid's mother. Hello, good
Hi.
evening, everyone. Question, I know that there's going to be a nurse on staff, but are you open? I'm a medical professional, so I do plan on, applying to chaperone and getting all my information in. But, I know that the nurse there would be doing her nursing duties, but parents that are medical, practitioners, like, are there any roles that you need for us outside of just chaperoning?
That's a good question. I haven't had that question come up before. And that's something we would have to run by like our student services department, because my concern would be if we're running into liability issues or anything, because the nurse that's on staff from the camp is covered through the camp. You would be kind of not under anyone's purview specifically. So let us look into that.
Okay.
I appreciate you offering, but let us just look into that.
Because the camp nurse, she's not the nurse from the school. She's a nurse that actually would get the kids' files or whatever that would have medical needs and would be administering medication according to the patient, the kids' the medical needs, right? It's not the school nurse, it's the camp nurse.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll look into that and we'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Any other questions? And again, if you missed something, this session is being recorded. And so we'll make sure that we send out the presentation and questions for others to see. Lisa Beatman.
Hi, Dr. Clark and Dr.
Hi.
Nelson. Did you tell us when it actually starts and when it ends? Like how long is the first day and the last day?
Oh, in terms of like the time of day we're leaving?
Yeah. Yes,
So,
please.
so on the Wednesday, we're departing at 9:15. So what that could look like is, you know, if students don't have a ride to school with all of their belongings, they can get on their regular school bus with their camping gear, because we're not departing until 9:15. And then we'll be returning to school around 11:30 or so on Friday. And then they'll be in school. Parents are welcome, or family members are welcome to pick kids up when we get back. They're going to be dirty and stinky and
exhausted.
and exhausted. So, you know, you know, families will be welcome to come and pick their students up at that time. But if for whatever reason a student needs to stay, I mean, you know, it's school and they'll go home on the regular school bus at the end of the school day.
And I'm curious, I know ideally like everybody would have a perfectly good time and stay the whole time. But if for some reason a kiddo is struggling, whether they're in your group or it's your own kiddo, I'm just curious, like maybe how that's been handled in the past. If somebody maybe only stayed one night, if they just didn't, you know, just weren't doing well and needed to go home. Does that has that happened in the past? And how, like, I mean, ideally that wouldn't happen, but if it does.
Right.
I'm
Go
aware
ahead,
of
Dr. Clark.
I'm aware of that happening
Yeah.
when my own children went to Peak. There was
Yeah.
a student who had some level of anxiety, a young man, and they actually took him to the main office area and called his family, and then they came and picked him up.
Okay. So if it has to happen, it can happen.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
We're definitely not going to
Holding them
hold
against their
someone in
will.
torture.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, one more question.
Yeah.
Because I'm an old mom. As far as being a chaperone, are you like on duty as soon as your eyes open that day until the end of the day? Or do you get like a 15-minute break for no, I'm serious, for yourself at some point?
Sure. No, and so, you know, what chaperones will do, you know, with like, say we're, you know, at the archery station and you say, you know, Sharice, I just need to go grab a cup of coffee. Can you keep an eye on my kids for 10 minutes? You know, people cover for each other. And and what will allow that to happen even more is when we get all of you wonderful friends chaperoning, and we have so many chaperones in addition to our staff, then I also then have teachers and other staff members that can fill in and give people breaks as well.
Okay.
So it's really the more the merrier
Sure.
when it comes to this trip.
And the kids, is there a little, last question, sorry, is there some downtime kind of built in? I didn't read the schedule yet, but is there a little downtime kind of built into their day?
So they have breakfast, and then, you know, whatever activities they're assigned until lunchtime. They have a good block of time for lunch, then more activities, and then dinner. And then after dinner, what we plan for them on the school side of things, you know, will be more low key. We're thinking, you know, sitting around the campfire, telling stories and singing song, you know, type of thing. So it's not go all the time.
Okay.
But there are a lot of activities. We do kind of pack a lot into the time that we're up there, but you know, we all understand that everybody needs some downtime. So it's, you know, with their meal breaks and then kind of the after dinner time, you know, they have some slower times.
Yeah, and it's kind of like their breaks are kind of walking from one activity or an event to another. Because it's a balance. We're dealing with 12-year-old energy. So
are they allowed back in their cabin to take a break, or no, because of safety and this and that?
Well, so that would have to be something where you would be working with, you know, a partner parent that you link up with there and, you know, if between the two of you, say, you know, you've got, you know, 15 kids between the two of you and 5 of them really just want to go take a break in the cabin for 20 minutes or something, you know, one chaperone could, kind of cover the other kids while the other takes them for, the break, but the kids can't be unchaperoned.
Sure.
So, we try to be flexible and make sure that, everybody has what they need. We don't want anyone miserable there. But we have to balance that with making sure that kids are constantly monitored. So, again, the more of you that come with us and then with the additional staff, the more we can help with those types of situations.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
It was, in my experience, there may have been an activity that maybe if somebody wasn't really feeling it, then those kids just kind of sat off on the side and just kind of relaxed, rather than us splitting away from the group, because then I just wanted our groups to remain together. Jill Marie Strumfels.
Hi, how are you guys? Sorry, I missed a lot of this because I didn't realize that this was happening. I happened to see the email went to my junk folder. So I heard before about Peak, I guess it was, and they said different groups go at different times. Is this the same thing, or is it one big group?
One big group.
Okay. 'Cause I was like, what happens with the twins? And then, whatever. But my second question is chaperones free, or do we have to pay the $95?
You do have to pay the $95. It really goes towards the catering costs.
The food and stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I just had a comment for the person who asked about the provider being like, I guess they were a nurse or whatever, but the nurse can't nurse. I actually know for a fact that they won't let you kind of do any nursing job provider duties with the kids because there's a liability issue. Just to answer that question. But I'm sure handing out Band-Aids or covering some cuts will be helpful. But beyond that, they won't let you do that, unfortunately. But okay, thank you for this. Sorry I came late.
Thank you. No problem. And this is being recorded, and so the link will be shared and you'll be able to catch up on the other
Okay,
things.
awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, Donna.
Hi, this is Don. My name is Donna Malcolm. I have a question regarding the chaperone. Let's just say all children come, all students come, all the staff that you need. What is the capacity? I know you mentioned at minimum 30 chaperones. What's the
Correct.
maximum?
The maximum number of chaperones. I think right now we have our contract is for 400 people. We have like 330 students. And if we have 30 chaperones, that puts us at 360. We'll probably, we're hoping to have 15 to 20 staff members coming. So, I'd say 50, another 50 people like that we would max out at 50 chaperones or so. I've never had that many.
We haven't had that problem, that wonderful problem.
Right.
I just wanted to know because everyone seems like they're interested in chaperones. Like, wait a minute. So what's the limit? I mean, what's the max?
No, we've never had to turn chaperones away. The only thing that has ever held up someone chaperoning is because they didn't get their clearances in on time and they weren't able to attend because of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And because that we did already do some, we're sending some money in advance, we do need to really be firm on that payments are due by April 15th. Because again, the trip is about 5 weeks from there. We want to make sure that, everything is paid and they're requesting that they receive monies before we actually attend. So if we can get all monies in by April 15th, we will remember to file our taxes and pay for Peak. Well, not Peak, pay for our camping experience. We have to get that Peak out of our brain. Any other questions? Franchetta Valsine?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Philip mother. I'm sorry I'm coming late in the meeting, but I have a question. Once they leave for the trip, how can I keep contact with my kids? How can I know about him? It's too night. This is my question.
So there's a main line to the camp that will provide. So, you know, if parents need to call in, I will have my work cell phone number and I can provide that number. So, you know, families, if there's an emergency or anything, you know, in order to connect with me directly while we're there. But the camp itself also has its own landline because service can be spotty, but there'll be adults that you'll be able to reach if you need to check in.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'll
I
have my
know it's hard to be
well.
away from your
I
babies.
know. My mom will ship me off for a week. And we didn't have cell phones.
Nope.
But yeah, it was roughing it. But we just hope that the students really gain experience. I mean, even those students who act like they're too cool for school and they don't want to do the camping trip, they are so happy and so thrilled. And we actually see them turn into kids again. You know, they are away from the electronics and away from, you know, the outward things that kind of interfere with just being a kid and just being one with each other. They learn team building. They're looking at nature in a whole new way. They're hiking and doing scavenger hunts and it's just really a very cool thing to see. So for those of you who want to attend, we welcome you. And for those who can't attend but would like your child to attend, we would really like to start getting those numbers as soon as possible so we can organize all the cabins and student groups ahead of time. Britt? You're unmuted. Britt? Oh, they're off. All right, everybody. Okay.
We got one more popped on.
Yep. Hi. I can't see the picture, but I see.
Says Black educator.
Hey, Dr. Clark. This is Lewis Thomas.
Oh, this
When,
is Mr. Thomas. Hi.
hey, how are
I
you?
recognize your voice.
When will the payment thing go live, so that we can start paying? When will it go live? That's my only question.
It should be live this week, if not early next week.
We were asking for it to be live by March the 4th. But I will continue to send updates to let everyone know when it is live. Jill Marie Strumfels?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize my hand was up. My bad. Lowering it, sorry.
And listen, for everybody listening, you know, if we hang up off of this Zoom and you're like, oh, I should have asked, just send us an email. My email is snelson@cheltenham.org. Just send me an email and, you know, and you can ask away and I'll find out whatever you need.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to end the session for tonight. We will have an information session for our students. We are scheduling that for next week so we can start answering some of their questions and start generating some excitement regarding this camping experience. And if there are any other questions, again, feel free to reach out to Ms. Nelson or myself. And if we don't have the answer, we will find an answer for you. All right, and with that, we're going to end the session for this evening. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. I did write them all down. And we may want to do like a frequently asked question sheet, Ms. Nelson, for some of the questions, so they're not repeated again and again. But again, thank you, and start getting your clearances together because
Yes.
we are going to need you as a chaperone. Again, thank you for coming and thank you for joining our Zoom tonight, and we'll be in touch.
Good night.
Night.